Good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Starcast from Planet Waves. I'm Eric here with a quick check-in and hello and a little bit of astrology. The music you're listening to is me working out some kind of theme for the forthcoming annual edition, Somewhere in Between. Actually spent a good part of the day working on the Aries chapter of that. My intent is to get into the writing to the point where it has a life of its own as early as possible. And as I have mentioned elsewhere, I've completed all horoscopes out through the end of the year. This is completely astonishing. I've never done anything like that ever in my entire career. So I will, with any luck, have clear runway and be able to kind of write this like a book. I will be, adding a Thursday essay on top of horoscopes for subscribers, but those are pretty easy. And what I have planned for you tomorrow is your basic introduction to Sagittarius, one of my favorite signs to write about because I really like the deep space astronomy connected with Sagittarius. In particular, the core of our galaxy is there, and then there's this essentially a kind of a deep space watershed called Laniakea, which pours into this thing called the Great Attractor right in the middle of Sag. But the sun is not there yet. I was, it's in the last degree of Scorpio. I work with the scanner on sometimes, or often leave it on low, or just periodically check in. So I'm listening to EMS radio, and that, for those of you not in the United States, and in many places, that is let's say it's an important privilege of citizenship. You don't really have to be a citizen, but so I think of it. And I think a very helpful thing to be doing, because it's one of the only ways you'll ever get information when there is a pinch and you need it. You cannot count on the internet being on or those EMS feeds going over the internet. You can listen practically anywhere in the States or to EMS in the States. But not if they cut the feed and not if the internet goes down. I'll do another talk on this some other time, but I think you get the idea. Anyway, I was just listening and I noticed that the thing had kind of sprung to life, which it does periodically. And whenever it does, whenever I start hearing lots of calls and, either frequent or unusual activity or particularly intense activity, I check the astrology to see what is corresponding with that. That's one of the ways that you learn mundane astrology, is you just always keep an eye on it. And so I got a little bit of an eyeful. For one thing, the sun is anaretic. The sun is in the very last degree of Scorpio. It's 22 arc minutes into the last degree, so it's got about, I guess that translates to about 18 hours from the time that I'm recording. And over the past day or two, a little more actually, but lining right up, the sun has been conjunct Mars and Minor Planet Ceres, the first ever discovered asteroid, kind of a dark, somewhat, one of its expressions is kind of scorpionic. And so it's been Sun, Mars, Ceres in a conjunction in very late Scorpio. The sun has now overtaken those 2 points. Really, of course, it's the Earth. If you're one of those suckers who believes that the Earth orbits the sun, I've been in a lot of conversations with these really strange people who are trying to convince me that I live in an ant farm. But anyway, so the movement of the sun is actually the movement of the Earth, movement of the sun in a chart. And so but the sun's longitude is past that of Mars and Ceres, and that would be enough on its own to have like the sun in the last degree of a sign, especially Scorpio. But to have it so close to Mars and Ceres has a kind of a sad tinge to it, and an emotional flavor to it. And it is Scorpio, and it is way out at the end. And though I'm corresponding with people down in the non-existent southern hemisphere quite a bit these days, I tend to. Up here in the north, it is cold, and the days are short, and the nights are long, and that mingles in with the feeling of late Scorpio. We're just a month away from solstice, when the great dynamo of the cosmos changes directions and the sun starts to move north again. Okay, so that is happening. That very late Scorpio Mars Ceres Sun, and then I also noticed that Venus is about to be opposite Chiron. That happens on Wednesday, I think. And that is a poignant aspect that can be associated with a lot of fear. It tends to be something that comes with a sensation of being at the mercy of forces larger than yourself, or your feelings being out of control, or so forth. So that's Venus opposite Chiron right now, tomorrow. That'll go through Thanksgiving, but it'll be separating by then. Also, there's another opposition aspect, which is, and it's going to be hanging out for a while, which is Vesta, the fourth and brightest asteroid, opposite Pholus. Is that? Let me just check and make sure that Vesta is for Vesta. I should really know. Oh yeah, it is. Sometimes I'm very confident in knowing these things, and then sometimes I get it wrong. So it's always worth checking. So yeah, Vesta, 1807, the fourth and brightest asteroid. Ceres is a lot bigger, but Vesta is a lot brighter. Goddess of fire, goddess of the hearth, goddess of the home, goddess that helps us. The archetype of Vesta helps us define space as kind of an organizing principle, generally organized around the hearth. So that's opposite Pholus, and there's a lot clustered around Pholus, a lot of minor planets. Pholus is a centaur, the second centaur, discovered in 1992, and it tends to release, whereas Vesta tends to contain. So there's tension between the release property of Vesta, the kind of let it all out quality of Pholus. Right, Pholus is the pressurized release, or the opening of the lid that can't really be closed, and then Vesta has this sensation of containment. So that's the pull between those two things. Eris, somehow, this is an odd bit of timing, is conjunct the lunar north node. This has gone on 4 weeks. I guess their daily motion is so close that this is going on. And still as yet, I've never seen such a thing, a planet tracking the nodes. They're both moving, so they both have to be moving at similar paces, and they're the nodes wobble back and forth and generally are retrograde, but the conjunction is quite close. It's only 4 arc minutes, a very small fraction of a degree. Now, one thing that is amplifying the quality of this Mars Ceres Sun conjunction that I began with is that they are making an aspect to Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto is at 2819 Cap, and Mars is at 2815 Scorpio. Ceres 2836 is very close, a 60-degree angle. So there is mutual support and balance implied in this, but still it is this mix of these kind of darker shaded signs, feminine, introspective, and both Scorpio and Cap are a bit wintry, that autumny, wintry flavor there. So the moon, for its part, the moon was kind of in trigger warning mode today. It's currently 4 degrees separating from Nessus. Nessus is the asteroid associated with transgression and abuse themes and victim consciousness. These are not asteroids. Centaurs are not asteroids. They're much more expressive. They move very slowly compared to asteroids. So they're not that much bigger or smaller, but it's the speed of movement that determines the emphasis. Anyway, the moon about 8 hours before now, so sometime this morning Eastern time, probably around 10 a.m., was conjunct Nessus. Now the moon is moving toward watery, dreamy, mystical Neptune, which it will do overnight. That conjunction will happen at about 4 a.m. Eastern time, depending on the speed of the moon. And one last thing, Mercury has been trine Chiron. So that opens up a certain kind of communication. Mercury is always about communication. A trine makes the communication possible. Sometimes the trine will facilitate honest communication. Sometimes will facilitate dishonest communication, which is not necessarily communication, but there is an idea within reach that might be a difficult idea to access otherwise when you've got a trine, for example, between Mercury in Sag. So Mercury's got this spiritual flavor. Chiron, associated with Sag, is in Aries. That's what I've been writing about the last couple of hours, is the influence of Chiron in Aries. And this has been in the context of the Aries chapter of Somewhere in Between, about the how self-actualization feels. Let me write a little, read. I wrote it. Read a little bit. Because Chiron spends so long in Aries, 9 years total, this has been coming in waves. The initiation quality, the sense of no return, the sense of initiation has been coming in waves. And sometimes they're separated by a couple of years, and then sometimes they come in clusters where there are a lot of things all at once. You may have figured out that they share a common theme and are part of the same process. In 2 words, that is self-actualization. This can be summed up as, quote, becoming who you are, unquote, or maturing. Experiences of Chiron transits vary wildly among individuals. Even those who are self-aware and focus on their growth can have highly challenging experiences at the time of Chiron transits. Yet, despite any crisis or seeming setbacks, for most people, the general direction is upward and toward progress. And while this is not easy, with Chiron transits, there can be a sense of satisfaction from knowing that you're doing what must be done and growing in ways you knew you would have to embrace sooner or later. Basically, you could say catching up with yourself. It's fair to say the Chiron brings up everything unlike itself. That requires special handling. In a time when few people have access to therapy or even the concept, nor counseling or an astrologer qualified to assist with this kind of transit. So that all is a little bit more in reach. I'm curious your experience of the past couple of days. That'll be the 20th and the 21st. All of it adds up to a sky that's rapidly changing. This Venus Chiron is going to peak real soon, right around the time that the Sun enters Sagittarius, and then have a whole new scenario. We go from this deep, dark, watery, introspective energy field of Scorpio blended with Capricorn, especially so, right? To this much more questing and outwardly exciting, adventurous sign, Sag. All right, monthly horoscope comes out for my subscribers. We'll have that out on Thanksgiving evening. We're going to wrap it up on Wednesday night. If you're a subscriber, it'll be in your subscriber feed. Just go to my account on the Planet Waves website. Everyone else is going to get it at some point on Thursday evening. I am planning Planet Waves FM. It will, as I have promised, be the last ambitious program of the year. And I'm going to have simpler ones, a little more like this, a little bit less guest, a little bit less newsy. I've had it up to here with the issues and et cetera, et cetera. But got an exciting program planned for you on Friday. I will not say who my guests are, but they are both scheduled for their conversations, and I'm looking forward to both of them. Wildly different topics. All right, so thanks for hanging out, and thanks for checking out the Somewhere in Between annual edition. There is a card located on Substack feed or on the My Account feed, or a link on the My Account feed. It's easy to find, or you go right to planetwaves.net on the front page. This may be my last annual edition. I've done this 26 times. That is more than enough. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna write 60,000 words in a few weeks. Maybe this is the last time, but I'm gonna make it good on that basis. Always is. I always aspire to be a little bit better than I was last time. In any event, if I don't catch you until Thursday, probably that's when I'll probably tack a Starcast onto the monthly horoscope with an introduction to Sagittarius astrology, elaborated a little bit more. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your loving and kindness and your business and your trust. Bye for now.